The Lewis men's volleyball team is #1 in their conference, and the Lewis track and field teams are gearing up for their outdoor championships. We'll have the latest in Lewis athletics coming up right now. Hello and welcome to Flyer Nation, your source for the latest news in Lewis athletics. Thanks for joining us here on LUTN and online. I'm Shane Gustafson.
And I'm Noelle Trainer. Joining us later on in the show is Lewis head track and field coach Dana Schwarting. He'll talk about both team meets over the weekend as well as preview the outdoor championships next weekend.
We'll also talk with Greg Petty of the men's volleyball team. He'll talk about the team's success over the weekend as well as what it's like to host the MIVA tournament at home. But before we get to that, let's take a look at some other Flyer sports headlines. Last weekend was critical for the #2 Lewis men's volleyball team as they look to end their season as strong as they started it. The guys were playing for the #1 spot in their conference and for the chance to host the MIVA tournament, but had to go through #10 Ohio State to get there. The team used their height in the front of the net to their advantage throughout most of the night and outblocked the Buckeyes in all 3 sets. Seniors Eric Fitterer and Greg Petty each picked up 6 blocks in the night, as did junior Bobby Walsh to add to the Flyers' defensive game. The Flyers also got it done on offense and didn't fall behind Ohio State until the 3rd set, but the guys fought back and eventually picked up the 3-0 sweep to clinch the #1 spot in the conference. The team also played McKendree on Saturday night, but struggled a little bit in the game that went to 4 sets. The team eventually picked up the 3-1 victory and clinched the regular season MIVA title. After Friday's game against Ohio State, senior Eric Fitterer talked about what it means for the team to host the upcoming championship tournament.
The team was defeated by Ohio State earlier this year on the road in 5 sets, come out here tonight and sweep the Buckeyes. What was that? What was the game plan going into this game, knowing that Ohio State, one of your biggest rivals, getting into the MIVA conference, you had all kinds of stuff going on in your mind. What was the thought going into the game?
We just had to execute better. Last time when we were at their place, we made a lot of errors. They outplayed us, they out-hustled us, and this time we knew that we had to do what they did to us last time.
So going into the MIVA conference championships here at the Neil Care Arena, hosting that, what does that mean for you and the team to host such a big event here at home?
It's a great advantage. We have a wonderful home core. Fans are great. Everyone's great. It's tough to play in here for other teams, so it's going to be good for us.
The men are back in action this weekend when they host #8 seed Grand Canyon in the MIVA tournament.
Both golf teams competed on the road over the weekend in 2 separate events. The men's team played in the opening round of the GLVC tournament on Sunday afternoon and held the top position in the tournament at the end of the play. Senior Ryan Frederick and junior Alex Thode each shot a 71 in the first round to help contribute to the team's overall score of 289, which was the lowest in the tournament and the 3rd lowest for the team this season. The Flyers are competing against 14 other teams in the tournament and will play the final round on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the women traveled to Wisconsin to compete in the UW Whitewater Spring Invite. The ladies shot well throughout the event and saw success from sophomore Ryan Sweeney, who shot a career low of 72 on Saturday afternoon. The Flyers shot a 318 overall, which was the lowest score in the event and led to a first-place victory for the team. The ladies are back in action this weekend when they compete in the GLVC tournament in Waterloo, Illinois.
It was a successful weekend for both Lewis track and field teams as they competed on the road at the Kansas Relays. The men's team saw success at their event behind the performance of sophomore Michael Leet, who dominated the 3,000-meter steeplechase and defeated his nearest competitor by nearly 5 seconds. Leet set an NCAA provisional mark when he finished with a career best time of 9:17.93, which is the 5th fastest time in school history. The men also came away with 2 other individual victories in the Mount Sac Relays and Cougar Invitational over the weekend. There was even more success when the number 13 women's team competed in the Kansas Relays. The team set 3 NCAA provisional marks as well as 2 school records in their successful weekend. The provisional marks came from senior Rebecca Preisler, who broke her own school record in the pole vault, and Amber Cook, who broke a 14-year-old school record in the triple jump event. Both teams are back in action this weekend at the Drake Relays before heading to the GLVC Outdoor Championships in 2 weeks.
It was a short weekend for the Lewis softball team, who only played 2 of their 4 scheduled games due to the rain. However, the team did play a doubleheader against Rockhurst on Sunday afternoon and split their games despite a strong performance from the Flyers pitching staff. Senior Kelly Bowler only allowed 1 hit through 6 innings of work in game number 1 and struck out 3 Rockhurst batters. The Hawks scored a run in the bottom of the 4th, and the Flyers couldn't answer back. The ladies dropped the game 1-0, and the team looked a little better in the second game, though, when pitcher Dana Schwarting stepped in the circle. She earned the complete game victory and gave up 1 run on 5 hits. The Flyers' bats also worked a little bit better in the second game as well, and the team put 4 runs on the board and eventually took the 4-1 victory. The team is back in action this Saturday when they take on Drury at the Lewis softball field.
The Lewis baseball team added to their winning record this weekend when they picked up 3 out of a possible 4 victories at home against Southern Indiana. The Flyers started their first game against the Screaming Eagles by putting 5 runs on the board in a game that went back and forth several times. The Flyers' bullpen was key for the team, however, and led to a victory in the first game. But the team couldn't pull it together in the second game after pitcher Ian Cox got off to a shaky start and allowed 8 runs in just 2 innings of work. The team dropped the second game by a huge margin, 16-4, but Sunday was a little bit better at Brennan Field as the Flyers looked to pick up 2 more victories against Southern Indiana, and they did exactly that. The Flyers pitching staff allowed only 1 run through two complete games and shut down the Screaming Eagles in both of them. After Sunday's game against USI, head baseball coach Tim McDonough talked about bouncing back and getting 2 more victories.
No question. I mean, against a good team like Southern Indiana, they've been playing really good baseball. And, for Ryan Fox to come out and shut them down in game 1, and then, Dalton to come back on short rest with help from the bullpen there, 1 run in 16 innings. That's a great effort from our pitching staff, and we needed it.
The team is back in action this week when they travel down the street to the University of St. Francis in Joliet for a doubleheader against the Fighting Saints.
Both Lewis tennis teams traveled to Kansas City, Missouri over the weekend to compete in the GLVC championships. The men's team played Missouri S&T in the first round of the tournament, and it turned out to be their final match of the season. The team fell 5-1 after only winning their first set. The Flyers end their season with a record of 12-9. Meanwhile, the ladies came home with a third-place finish in the GLVC tournament. In number 1 doubles, freshman Nora Minarova and junior Megan Nagawan took an 8-2 win over UMSL. Nagawan also came away with a win at number 2 singles. Lewis head tennis coach Brett Bradell said the group has really overachieved and outperformed his expectations this year. The Flyers will find out on April 28th if they qualify for the NCAA Division II Midwest Regional Tournament.
Well, it's good to see the men's volleyball team doing so well and the women's tennis team doing well, too, in the GLVC championships.
Yeah, it's great to see all these Flyers teams really doing well. And the men's volleyball game against Ohio State was such an exciting game. So that was great. So I'm excited for the playoffs and to see the tournament here at Lewis.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. Well, when we come back, we'll have Lewis head track and field coach Dana Schwarting. Stay tuned.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at mommy. Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry.
Maybe he can't hear us.
Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. The outdoor track and field season started about a month ago, and so far both the men's and women's teams have been successful individually and collectively. That success continued over the weekend when several members of both teams picked up NCAA provisional marks at the Kansas Relays, and the team is hoping to repeat their performances this weekend at the Drake Relays, as well as the GLVC Championships coming up in 2 weeks. Joining me now to talk about these events is Lewis head track and field coach Dana Schwarting. Thanks for coming out and joining us today, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, not a problem. Welcome back. So like I said, both teams competed pretty well over the weekend at the Kansas Relays. What worked so well for both teams in your opinion?
It's coming towards the end of the year, so we're kind of gearing up for our conference meeting in a couple weeks. So we expect some bigger performances as our training sets up for that. But we got some really great weather out in Lawrence, Kansas on Thursday and Friday. And just a step up in competition always helps. It's easier to run fast and jump far and throw far when you're going against people that are really good. It just makes you more motivated and really makes you bring your A game.
So on the men's side, sophomore Michael Leet had a pretty big weekend individually helping the men's team. What does he bring to the program overall?
Michael's having a great season, sophomore year. He's hit a national qualifying mark a couple weeks ago, and he was able to better it by just a little bit this week. He mentioned that it took a little bit less effort on his part to run about the same time, so that's when it's time to really jump down and make some big strides towards the national meet. Try to get in there. He has to run about 10 seconds faster. But just seeing him run, provisional times, NCAA qualifying times, kind of pumps up the rest of the team. Lets them know that, hey, his hard work's being rewarded and paying off. If I work my butt off, my hard work's going to be rewarded and paid off too. So it's always nice affirmation when people on the team see people having success and know that hard work is definitely rewarded.
So talk about the women's team a little bit. The women's team continues to be successful, pick up some more provisional marks over the weekend. They hold a number 13 national ranking. What's working so well for that group?
It's just a really veteran group. We have some seniors and fifth-year seniors on that team. It's been a build over the last 3 or 4 years to where we are right now. So we kind of saw this success coming. It's been a lot of hard work, but we just have a lot of pieces in place. We have a lot of different events that we're good at. We have Rebecca's #1 in the nation in the pole vault. We have some other athletes that are ranked in the top 10. That picks up some good national points for us. And again, it just breeds confidence. If you're on the women's team and you've got people on the team that are top 10 in the nation, and you just know that you have to jump in behind them every day during the workouts and kind of follow their lead, and you're going to be successful also.
So coming up in a couple of weeks, both teams compete in the GLVC Outdoor Championships. You still have one meet before then, but what's the mindset as you get closer to this GLVC Championship?
Yeah, it's harder in track and field because you don't want to do anything stupid that gets anybody injured or do things that are going to affect the GLVC Championships, because that is kind of how we measure our success as a team. So this weekend it's more about maybe trying to get a few national qualifying marks in a few events. Otherwise, it's just running a few events and setting up the races that we really want to get kids in next weekend. So we were kind of like on pins and needles a little bit, just making sure, we want to get some competition in, but we don't want to do anything dumb to get people hurt. So it's kind of one of those weekends where you're just crossing your fingers and hope everybody gets through it.
Well, last year the men's team did pretty well, finished in 3rd place in the championships. The women's team finished in 1st place. Do you see something similar to those results happening this year? I know you don't want to speculate too much, but do you see the team getting to that level this year?
Yeah, our women's team, obviously we're ranked 13th in the nation. We should have a really good opportunity to win the conference meet, but there are some other good teams in our conference that won't make it easy for us. And on the men's side, same thing. We've got the potential to win the conference meet. We're redshirting 3 of our 4 All-Americans from indoors because we feel like our men's team is going to be better next year than this year even. So we're kind of down a few people that way, but we do have some pretty good depth. And again, our men's conference is pretty deep. There's 5 or 6 teams that probably have a chance to win. So it's going to matter on who gets on a roll that day. But if we get good weather and we feel like we're in a pretty good position, if everything goes right, I think we can come home with 2 pretty good performances.
So before the GLVC Championships, you have the Drake Relays, which are coming up this weekend. I know you said you don't want to do anything crazy this upcoming weekend in the upcoming event, but do you kind of view this weekend as kind of a practice for next weekend for the GLVC Championships?
It definitely is. I mean, it's more an extended, even though it's a track meet, it's more an extension of a practice. We are doing a few events that are some of our national caliber kids are trying to improve their performances. But some of the relays we're running are just kind of setting people up for races. Drake Relays is one of the biggest meets in the country, so there's professional athletes and a lot of Division I athletes there. So it's a fun meet to also watch. It's a very prestigious meet, probably one of the top 4 biggest meets in the country. So it's kind of nice just to be there and be part of the atmosphere. So we're hoping that kids kind of get fired up a little bit, seeing some really Olympic performances and stuff, and it'll lead over into the conference meet next weekend.
So after the GLVC championships, of course, it's the NCAA championships, but between those two, you have the Dr. Keeler Invitational at North Central College. Is that kind of another one of these cushions in between the two big meets for you guys?
It is for some of our kids. If you've already hit the national qualifying marks and you know you're in the meet, it's kind of just a setup meet. But we have other athletes who are on the national list, but they're not into the national meet yet. They're on that bubble. So it's one more weekend for them to really, improve their performance and hope no one else in the country improves their performance also. So it's a kind of a tough weekend. Half our team is comfortable just kind of using it as a pre-meet for nationals, and the other team, they're fighting for their lives to even get into the national meet. So it's a little bit of a weird dynamic there, but it is what it is. Hopefully we'll get good weather for that weekend, and we'll get a lot of kids into the NCAA championships in coming up.
So if Flyer fans watch the upcoming meets, what can they expect to see for the next couple of weeks?
Hopefully we've done our training right and our kids peak and we see some pretty good performances. Obviously next week the team title is the most important thing, and we're going into there trying to do something special, and that's repeat for what we did indoors on the outdoor side with both men and women. So it's all about the team next weekend, and then after that weekend it's more about the individuals getting their national marks, and then hopefully we get enough kids into nationals that nationals becomes a team event.
All right, well, Coach, anything else you'd like to add while you're here today?
Nope, just hope the rain goes away and we have a good rest of the spring. It warms up and we'll see some good performances.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for coming out and joining us today.
Thanks for having me again.
Not a problem. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned here on Flyer Nation.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands? My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah. That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills?
Check.
Driver's license?
Check.
And a high school diploma or GED.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
I got that. You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. Last weekend was probably one of the most exciting and successful weekends of the season for the Lewis men's volleyball team. Not only did the guys sweep the number 10 Ohio State Buckeyes in 3 sets, but they also defeated McHenry University, clinched the number 1 spot in the MIVA conference, and won the MIVA regular season title. The guys are looking to continue that success when they host the MIVA conference tournament at the Neil Carey Arena later this week. Joining me now to talk about last weekend and the upcoming tournament is senior outside hitter Greg Petty. Thanks for coming out and joining us again.
Thanks for having me, Shane.
Yeah, not a problem. So like I said, it was a very exciting and successful weekend last week for the team. What was the mindset going into last weekend, knowing it was the last weekend of the regular season and it was a pretty big one against Ohio State and McHenry?
Honestly, we kind of just thought about, personally, I kind of thought about some of the failures we had in the past, how we actually, I think it was my sophomore year, we had a chance to win the MIVA outright and just take the title just for ourselves, and we ended up losing a couple matches and ended up sharing it with Loyola. So I think that was just one of the things, and we knew that we had to get revenge on Ohio State because we lost to them at their place in 5. So it was really just a kind of a whole team effort, just really focusing in on what we needed to do, and we just really wanted to get that. And wanted to end the season strong.
And you mentioned that Ohio State game being a big one. They defeated you guys on the road in 5 sets earlier this season, and then you guys got them back in 3 this time here at home. What was I guess the plan of attack going into this second game against Ohio State?
Well, honestly, we kind of had to really focus on Henchy, because their right side, because he kind of really did some work against us last time. He had a career night against us, and we were really working on the right side blocking and just kind of everything in general, making sure we put balls on them, put on our serves, kind of limit our errors if we could. And luckily that's what we did and pulled it out really quick in 3.
So the team is hosting the MIVA championships this weekend after clinching the #1 spot in the MIVA conference last week. How important is it for you guys to have that tournament here at home and in front of your home fans at the Neil Carey Arena?
I mean, it's huge. You know, home field advantage in any sport is a huge thing, and especially with ours. I mean, we got a smaller gym, so the fans are a lot closer and right up in your face. And I mean, even when we played, like how we have Grand Canyon coming up, and we played at Grand Canyon, like their gym is about the same as ours, and it's really tough environment to play in when you're on the road, no matter what it is. So it's huge, and I know that our fans are going to show up and cheer us on to victory, hopefully.
So like you said, you have the #8 seed Grand Canyon in the first round. You've seen the Antelope quite a few times this season. I guess what's the plan of attack going into these first couple of games of the tournament?
I mean, honestly, I think the one thing that we're all going to really worry about is making sure we don't take any team lightly. We know we got first in conference, and we know we can beat teams, but it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. It's a tough thing, but thankfully we played at Grand Canyon earlier in the year. We have them at home this time, so it's a bit different on the playing stage. But it's really, we just have to make sure we limit our errors and make sure we don't take any team lightly.
So you're a senior on this team. There's quite a few other seniors on the team. All 5 of you guys were honored before the games last weekend. What does it mean to have your final season be so successful and be the #2 team in the country, host the tournament? What does that mean for you guys as a whole to get to that level in your last year?
I mean, it's really a testament to how much hard work we've put in over the few years. And I mean, Coach Dan has been awesome with us too, and he's attributed a lot of the credit to us. But it's not just us. It's really everybody that's gone through the program in the last few years. I mean, honestly, it's a huge accomplishment for all of us who have done so well. And I'm really hoping that we keep it going and end the season even better than we wanted to.
So the team is, like I said, the #1 in the MIVA, #2 in the country. A lot of teams will look at that and say, this is the team to beat. Do you guys feel like you have kind of a target on your back, so to speak?
Honestly, yeah, we've felt like we've had a target on our back pretty much the entire season, because a lot of, there's actually a website that has a whole bunch of talking about volleyball, and like it's a blog kind of. A lot of people go on there and kind of bash like us and Loyola because they don't think that we can compete with the West Coast teams. So it's kind of a motivator for us, or at least for me personally, I know. But we definitely have a target on our back because people want to beat us and want to take us down and try and prove that we're not like one of the top teams. But we definitely have proven that we are, and hopefully we can continue doing it.
So the first game of the tournament Saturday against Grand Canyon. If Flyer fans come out to watch the game, what can they expect to see?
Hopefully some good volleyball, but I'm hoping also a victory in 3. It should be a good match either way.
All right. Well, Greg, anything else that you'd like to add while you're here today?
Not really. Just keep coming out and to support, and hopefully we can make it to the Final 6 at Stanford and then possibly win a national championship. So,
all right. Well,
that's the hope.
Good luck to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back here on Flyer Nation. Stay tuned.
Sweetheart, gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
So they say it's a man's world?
I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
It's getting close to the end of the regular season for softball, and the weather hasn't exactly been working in the Flyers' favor this season. The team picked up 2 more victories over the weekend, but let's take a look at where they sit in the overall standings. The Flyers are currently sitting in the 8th place position in the GLVC with their 11-11 record. UMSL, Southern Indiana, and Indianapolis hold the top 3 spots in the conference, while McKendree, Missouri S&T, and UW Parkside are sitting at the bottom of the conference.
The baseball season is starting to come to a close as well, and the Flyers helped add to their winning record over the weekend with 3 victories in 4 games. Let's take a look at where the baseball team currently sits in the division. The Flyers are currently in 5th place in the GLVC Eastern Division with their 13-15 conference record. Indianapolis, Bellarmine, and Illinois Springfield are holding the top 2 positions in the division, while St. Joe's, UW Parkside, and McKendree are sitting in the last 3 spots in the division.
Last weekend officially marked the end of the regular season for MIVA volleyball. The tournament is coming up this weekend here at Lewis, but let's take a look at the final standings for the MIVA conference. The Flyers finished in 1st place in the conference with a 24-2 overall record. Loyola and Ohio State finished in the 2nd and 3rd place positions respectively, with Quincy, Grand Canyon, and McKendree rounding out the conference. The Flyers clinched the MIVA title with their victories over Ohio State and McKendree over the weekend.
It's time to announce our Flyer Nation Player of the Week awards, and we'll start with Rachel Sweeney of the women's golf team. Sweeney shot a 72 on Saturday in the UW Whitewater Invitational. That score is not only a new career low for Sweeney, but it's also the lowest score for the women's golf program since the 2007-2008 school year. That record was also set in the same event. Sweeney and the Flyers went on to finish in 1st place overall at UW Whitewater.
Our second Flyer Nation Player of the Week award goes out to Ryan Fox of the Lewis baseball team. Fox threw a 7-inning complete game shutout in game number 1 of Sunday's doubleheader against Southern Indiana. The freshman struck out 13 out of the final 14 batters in the game and holds a 4-4 record this season. Fox was also able to work out of trouble later in the game when the Screaming Eagles loaded the bases and prevented a run with a fielder's choice.
Well, it's good to see that a lot of the athletes are having a successful end to their spring seasons and they're ending the school year on a strong note.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, all their hard work is finally paying off.
Yeah, exactly. And they're being recognized for it as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be right back here on Flyer Nation.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
We're getting close to the end of the school year, and if you haven't come out to watch a Lewis athletic event yet, you might want to do so this weekend. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule. On Saturday afternoon, the Lewis softball team is at home taking on Drury at the softball field. The doubleheaders are set for noon and 2 o'clock. Live stats can be found online at lewisflyers.com. On Saturday evening, the number 2 Lewis men's volleyball team is taking on Grand Canyon in the first game of the MIVA tournament. That game can be seen here on LUTN Channel 6, as well as online at lewisflyers.com and heard on our radio station WLRA 88.1 FM. On Sunday, the softball team is at home once again, taking on Missouri S&T in a doubleheader. The games once again are set for noon and 2 o'clock with live stats on lewisflyers.com. And all weekend, the track and field teams are on the road at the Drake Relays. Live stats for those meets can be found online at lewisflyers.com.
Before we leave today, let's take a look at this week's Flyer Nation Play of the Week. And we'll go back to set point in the men's volleyball game against Ohio State on Friday night. Scott Pfeiffer goes back to the line to serve for the Flyers, and the Buckeyes volley for a little bit before it's blocked in the front of the net by the Flyers, who swept Ohio State 3-0.
So like you said earlier, a very exciting end to that men's volleyball game against Ohio State the other night. I was calling that game. It was a very exciting end for the Flyers.
Yeah, I was in the control room working the TV, but even I wish I was in the gym because you can just tell everyone was so excited, and it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, definitely a lot of excitement for the end of that game. All right, well, that will do it for us this week here on Flyer Nation. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to join us next week right here on LUTN for the latest in Flyer athletics.
We only have one more episode left, so make sure you catch it next week. From all of us here at Flyer Nation, have a great day.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.